Covenant Culture Podcast, episode 10. We're talking about fighting fair.
Yeah. Okay, that's rude. For those of you who didn't see me, just what do you even call that? I would call that a lunge. You probably have a different
lunge
word.
like that? That's what you used to do with your shorties. Like,
okay,
what?
stop.
All
I
right.
get it.
We talking about
Things
fighting
are gonna be
fair.
unfair
We
real
do
quick.
not advocate for physical
Although you look like
altercations
it right
in
now.
marriage. But we know this topic is serious. We know it's real. Every couple argues. And I'd say if you're not arguing in your marriage,
We're arguing
healthy,
right now.
Yeah, live on the podcast, we're literally arguing. It's a part of marriage. So, but I do believe that you can do it right.
Yeah.
You can do it as weird as this sound. That's good. This is kind of an oxymoron, but you can do it right.
Yeah, you said that.
You know what I
That's
mean?
True.
Because if you have an end in mind for your marriage and you know arguments are going to come, then keep the end in mind. I love you. I want the best for you. I would never harm you.
You know what I always say?
What?
I always say, you can quote me if you like. I always say, I don't care about being right in our marriage.
Oh, that was recorded, y'all. She just said she don't care about being right.
I just am right, but I don't care about being right.
She ain't.
Wait, you didn't even get it.
Oh, I get it.
Say
I
that.
know.
No, you were the one
I know. But for you to say it, man, I'm winning.
Wow.
But fighting fair. We know we're going to have fights. There will be disagreements. Things come up, right? Like being in the flesh, warring with the flesh. We're going to argue. It's a part of it.
It's two people.
Yeah.
It's a man. It's a woman, right?
Yep.
It is a whole different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, women, our brains are like spaghetti.
That's true.
We are a whole bunch of noodles on a plate. And I am a huge advocate for pasta. So I agree with our method. But our brains think so much differently. We are the noodles.
Yeah.
I can start talking to you about the shirt I have on and end up at my neighbor's house and their dying cat in a second. And it all makes sense to me. And honestly, most of you follow.
Yes.
When I say most of you, I mean the women. Men, you are waffles.
We're like waffles. We think in
boxes. You think of a bed. You think of a remote.
Bed, amen.
Football field.
Think of TV on Sunday morning. Basketball court. We
are
think in
you
boxes.
Okay?
Because we like to compartmentalize. Whatever the thing is, let's stick to the thing. Which brings me to number one with fighting fair.
Oh, yeah. I was already in the noodle.
Stick to the topic, right? Like if we're talking about finances, if we're talking about holiday travel, we're talking about vacation, let's stay in the box of the topic.
Okay. Well, it's good to be living outside of the box. But the thought is there, correct, that a lot of times if you argue, if you're a good arguer, then
that's legit.
Like, is that a word?
Arguer.
Then all of a sudden you don't know what you're arguing about anymore, and it's too far. You're too far gone.
It's true.
That's because what you're arguing about, you don't even remember anymore.
Yeah.
Now the thing that was the issue is now there's another entire other issue. And that's why we like to call. I'm in my spaghetti phase. I would like to say, because I don't know what you're thinking right now. But for me, that's what I was thinking.
I could jump in spaghetti sometime, dog. I don't like all the sauce all over me and everything, but I could jump in some spaghetti.
I'm on a square plate, if that's helpful.
Yeah.
That we like to call peanut butter.
That's
so before things get tense, too far gone, before you cannot untangle the crazy web that you have spun, then you call peanut butter. It's a timeout. And what we like to say to do first to all of our believers listening is to pray.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that. No. We know, but it's also the correct thing.
Yeah.
So you stop, you pray, you give each other a second to just decompress. Breathe it out and then reconvene.
So sticking to the topic, this is amazing because if we can stick to the topic, we can get to the root of why we're arguing. It's when we jump topics, we're like, whoa, hold on. All right, this touching this touching that, this touching
why
that.
Are you Just
The spaghetti
being
example,
difficult
I
on the
know. I'm
It's
in
not
there.
about spaghetti.
What's it about?
It is about you have to stay on the topic because men do this too. Now all of a sudden it's about something that
Not as much.
I did 5 minutes ago that you don't like. Are we actively
Yeah,
fighting?
this
I'm
is real
angry.
time. We process in real time right now. But sticking to the topic help you get to the solution faster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is what I thought for the men. Let me talk to the men for 42 seconds.
Yeah. Why don't you?
And I know
I'll
women deal with this too.
add into this.
You'll allow women deal with this too, but anger is for real.
Yeah.
So I want to fellas, just hear me. We got to conquer this anger thing.
Yeah.
Because if anger is at the root of our arguing, that anger seed leads to other things. So we have to conquer our anger. I have to know that if I'm really upset, and it does take a lot for me to get like super upset. I get agitated or irritated, but it would have to be something humongous for me to be like angry. When I was a kid, that was different.
With me like that?
No, nothing comes to mind. But when I was a kid, I can get angry really fast because there was a lot of unresolved stuff in me. Yeah. Right. Over the years, through God's grace, have helped heal that. As the Bible say, be slow to anger. It didn't say you can't be angry. Yeah. See, this is what I love about the word is that it touches every part of us.
Yeah, like spaghetti.
Emotionally, spiritually, and physically, right? It touches all part of us. So what I'm saying is the Bible never says don't get angry. It says be angry and sin not. Okay, what do I do with my anger? Yeah. So if I know I'm really angry about something, that's the wrong time to talk about it. Right. Because that's going to blow up into an argument. Right.
So there's another thing. There's always, and actually we talked about this last week, but there's always a correct tone. There's a way to do it.
The how to.
Right. And this is for your relationships, but this is also for your in-laws too, your outlaws, if you will, to make sure that you are addressing one another correctly with grace, with honor, with love. If you, Lamoris, I wasn't going to say you, but who else am I married to? So if you are just
called by my name,
a moment, and I just can't handle the moment that you're having, it's probably not a good time to come talk to you about it when you're watching football.
Yeah. Amen.
No, I mean, you could turn it off, but
why would I turn it off on 4th down, 10 seconds left, and they have to go for it? Who turns the TV off?
Yeah, because you can't watch it. I've said this in the past, but you can't watch it on Monday nights or Thursday nights or
that's when it comes
Saturdays or Sundays.
There's no Saturdays.
Yeah, well,
in the
it's
NFL.
College.
That's true. Yeah. Only if it's a good game.
You find a way where there seems to be no way.
See? Let's stick to the topic. We're talking about fighting fair. See, jumping topics. That's what happens. Well, but you're right, babe. That's so important how you say it. Yeah. So if I know I'm angry, I know my how's gonna be all messed up.
And but I did skip this thought. So to your point.
Go back.
Also, with that being said, yes, it's the how. But it's also the timing. So there are better times than others. Yeah. If I'm watching a Hallmark movie, I also don't want to be bothered. I need you to equally respect it. Respect it.
We are in full Hallmark Christmas season movies, dog. Like time. I need a check from Walmart. How much movie?
Walmart.
How many movie? Yeah,
Walmart.
Hallmark.
They should.
How many movies we watch in this house? I need a check. But you're right.
Instead, we're paying them.
You're right. The wrong time to bring up something would be during that time, right? So healthy fighting means stay on topic. Yeah. I would say if number 2 would be, in this piggying back, we got to watch our words, right? I have no right under any circumstance, anger, disagreement, for me to demean your image. Yeah. I have no right to say anything less about you than what is written about you. Yes. Right? God says you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're fearfully and wonderfully. No matter how angry, upset, I have no right to demean you in that. So if I'm going to fight fair, if our end goal is health in our marriage, and I want to fight fair, then I cannot demean your image. Right? Yeah.
And same with me. Yeah. I just liked the moment, but it is true. So you are made in God's image. So if I am demeaning you, I am demeaning him. Yep. So, I mean, we use this example a lot. If you've been around us for any period of time, you've heard us say this, but it's a water balloon fight.
Yep.
Go ahead. Take it
if we're in a water balloon fight and I get hit with the water balloon and I'm standing next to my beautiful wife,
Yeah, it's hurtful.
then it's going to splash on her too.
Yeah.
So it's that principle applies both good and evil.
Yeah.
If I know I'm in God's presence, I'm in my word, I'm praying, I'm worshiping, that's going to spill off on you.
Yeah.
I know if I'm in anger, bitterness, I'm upset with you,
Yeah.
it's going to spill off.
Yeah.
So in those moments, I have to literally watch what I say, because we teach this all the time to couples. Whatever words you speak, once they cross the border of your lips, you can never get them back. So guess what happens in marriage? And this is why that spaghetti piece is important too, because we could be arguing today, and because words crossed the border of my lips 6 months ago,
I remember it.
She will replay that over and over and over.
Yeah.
Right. So
then
that's
I'd probably
why
hurl it back.
Yes. And those words are like spiritual tattoos on your spouse.
Yeah, it's good.
So they will wear them things. And fellas, it's different for us. For a lady, words are
but not always.
But I mean, to this effect, like for men, we're kind of built to talk stuff. Like when guys play sports, like we'll get on each other.
Why
and
are
like
you
we'll
like
leave
that?
it. We'll leave it at the court for the most part. Well, where I'm from, sometimes it's left on the court. Some bullets might fly, but other than that, mostly it stays on the court.
I don't know why you're smiling.
It's just a reality. Most of the time it stays on the court. So fellas, we have like this way of bouncing words and okay, it don't affect us.
Yeah.
It's not like that way for a woman.
No.
So we, as the leaders of our home, we have to watch in those heated moments what we're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really wouldn't hurl it back on you. I was teasing because that is what the typical couple would do, right? You say something, it burns. What am I going to do? I'm going to hurt you worse. Yeah. I'm going to remind you of how badly you hurt me. We actually don't do that to one another. Flow that way. There are moments that we'll say little things, but it's not as deep. And I think the more you mature with him, it's going to be with Jesus first, but you mature together and you recognize. Honestly, I'm like, this is the most we fought in a while. I'm kidding.
We fighting on our podcast, y'all.
No, but we don't hardly fight.
Not no more.
The podcast has caused us to fight a little bit more, but that's a spiritual situation.
Yeah, that's true.
And even then, we don't have we just don't. We don't. You always say call each other outside of their names, which I think is so cute. Yeah. That's a cultural thing. I don't say that. Wait, it's not to you?
No, it is a cultural thing.
You made a face. I was like,
no,
am I wrong?
because you triggered a thought. Go ahead.
No,
finish.
You go.
No. Seriously, finish.
So I was just saying, we don't typically do that anymore. We've learned. I can hold my tongue mostly. And we just don't take things personally. Yeah. We have to know in that moment, this is not a good moment for you. I'm not going to meet you in that space, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And we've talked about this, but that's when Paul says grow up.
Yes, mature.
This is why we are called to love each other with an agape love, not an I love my shoes, but a love that is so sacrificial that it truly demands nothing in return. It's just because you should, because it's what God does. Yeah. What were you going to say?
And I was going to say that for couples or even individuals listening to this, if you're in a very combative relationship, I would challenge you to do an inner check first.
Yeah.
Like most of the issues in our marriage really doesn't stem from something you do. It really, not that you're perfect. Don't get me wrong.
Like what you're saying. Keep it going.
But my response isn't dictated by what you do.
Yeah.
So if there's a response outside of character, man, I got to look at me. It doesn't mean I don't address whatever needs to be addressed.
No,
but how I say it, what I do, like my response has nothing to do with what you say or do.
Yeah.
It's all about, true. Where am I? Why? And this is me. Why am I so angry?
Right. No, I feel the same way. In 15 years, though, we have gotten there. And the truth is, we don't even talk about this actually, but the truth is a lot of couples, if you spend any certain amount of time around them, they get on each other's nerves. They pick little fights. We just don't desire that. And because we don't desire that, we don't sow seed to live in that harvest, right? Our desire is, okay, this might be a moment, but we usually can internalize it and recognize okay,
Yeah.
if I'm this upset about that thing,
Mm-hmm.
then there's an issue with me,
Yeah.
right? Which I've discussed this. This is so silly and little, but you're just such a morning person.
I am.
I'm just not. I don't
I am
want
a
to.
morning. I'm up.
I mean, I will work out at 5:30 in the morning. You know that.
Yeah.
But I'm half asleep until I'm there. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, what am I doing? And then I'm in it, but I don't have to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And then I come home and you are singing songs.
That's right.
And I just don't want to do that.
Because Jesus don't sleep. So when I
Okay,
get up, he's
so
up.
Jesus-
So I'm just worshiping.
Throwing
and
the
I'm,
Jesus card.
You know what I mean?
It's like,
Because
that's
how
what
you
Jesus would
well,
do.
for me, how I start my day matters.
No, okay, for me
You know what
also.
I mean? I know, but I'm just saying you.
Now it's
That's why I'm so like,
incriminating.
no, I ain't incriminating you.
Also, you
You're
don't
not a
want to
morning person.
incriminate those people.
That's right.
Your spouse.
No incrimination.
Using words like always and never,
Never.
like Helen Morris is always singing. No, that is incriminating. You don't ever want to do that to one another because it puts you in a place where you're like, I never take care of the dishes.
Yeah.
'Cause to me, I thought it was right now and you're upset about it, but I do the dishes, right?
Yeah.
Which always makes me think of that movie. I can never remember the name. Always and Never. There it is.
Oh yeah.
With Jennifer Aniston and what's his face? It's really descriptive.
What's his name?
The big guy.
Oh.
Anyway. She's like, no, I want you to want to do the dishes. And he's like, I don't want to do the dishes. Like, I get it. Because that's what love does. I am choosing to do this. There we are in the choice again. Choosing to do this because I love you, right?
The breakup.
breakup.
See our producer Kevin on it, boy. He's on it. The breakup. But
so in the breakup, that moment is so real.
Yeah.
It really is because my desire is that you get on the same page because I need help.
Yes.
That's what she's trying to say. I need help and I want you to help me and I want you to desire to help me.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do the dishes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say that's the next.
Where was my point though? This is a whole noodle moment. We started somewhere else.
I don't even know. But I can give the next point.
You joined me.
I know, because I got it in a moment. But my brain be flying on this podcast. But seriously, babe, this was the next thing. Don't pick a fight.
Yeah.
Right? Don't be waiting at the crib for her to come home to pick a fight.
Yeah.
Don't be
not what you
texting
want.
cold words or short sentences because it's about to go down. That's so, don't do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I never want to pick a fight. If we do have to hash out something, I want it to be because it came to the surface, not because I'm looking for something.
Yeah. No, that's actually what we were talking about. You brought us back.
Okay.
That is what we were saying. Like the average couple does that. Honestly, I want to say this because I mean it unintentionally. Like I don't even think that some of y'all realize how unhappy you are because that's just how relationships are.
So hold on, let me park there. You're saying because people are unhappy, they intentionally pick fights?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that's a real thing. You don't even realize because it's so normal. Because you do watch movies like The Breakup. So I obviously. But to see that and then unhealth becomes normal.
Yeah.
It's being unhealthy. Is it that is not living the life God created? You've got to think.
Oh
He's
my
got
gosh.
both of his fingers in the air.
And we know our marriage aren't perfect. But
it's not.
People know we love each other.
Yeah.
And this irritates me when people say things like, well, we aren't y'all.
Yeah, we don't want you to be us.
That's number one.
It's
but
weird.
number two, the love you see is because we've applied what we're teaching.
Yeah.
Listen, let me be 100. We didn't do this podcast because we wanted to.
It's true.
Honestly, we really didn't. As a matter of fact, I bought all the stuff and still didn't do nothing with it. That's the truth. If you can see my producer, he's smiling right now because he knows. I bought everything and I still didn't text him. I didn't call him. We didn't want to do it.
Well, it's a lot of money and we have 4 kids and 2 dogs.
We
and everybody's upstairs being quiet. It's not
We
easy.
invested a lot of money and we didn't want to.
Yeah.
But the Lord told us to. That's the only reason why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
So me saying this is this. We have fought to have a marriage that's never been seen before. Yeah. So don't make an excuse in your marriage because you don't want to change.
Yeah, because you can also fight.
Yes. If you just decide to change, you can have a marriage that's never been seen before. So us taking out time to give you principles to sow into your relationships, it's because we love y'all. Yeah. Like most of y'all who listen to this, most of you know us in some capacity. Most of you don't. We love y'all because we are convinced that marriage is the walking picture of covenant between God and man. It's in a marriage. So when you fight, you better understand that the end goal is love because God loves you.
It's true.
So that's why I want to change. That's why if we're going to fight, I'm going to fight fair. I'm going to have to bite my tongue. I'm going to have to humble myself. I'm going to have to sweat of my own hurt and don't change because I love my wife. So I'm not going to make an excuse because of pain or trauma. I'm going to fight trauma. I'm going to fight pain.
That's
I'm going
true.
to get to the issue so I can walk in love.
That's true.
I am done.
If anyone had an excuse, it would be you. And I would get it.
Yeah.
But we also, speaking of fighting and doing this correctly and keeping your words right, all of this, you had to deal with it, which we've said this, but we're going to talk about trauma.
Yeah,
it's just going to be
it's coming.
It's
the
going to be a heavy one.
coming.
Probably after Christmas because
it's coming. Yeah,
it's the gift that keeps on giving and not one that we want to give you at Christmas time. But we had a real moment that we'll unpack later. Mm-hmm. But when that real moment happened, when there was a real breaking, that's when we got to the reality of what we're dealing with. Like if we as believers, and this obviously this is covenant culture, this is for the believers. And if you're not a believer, we love that too. You should still listen.
Absolutely.
It's better to know how we live and why we think the way we do than to just jump in, right? But this is a podcast for the believers to recognize in these moments, you have to deal with you first.
Yes.
If you're not dealing with you first, then of course you're fighting about everything. If you're not going through the really difficult things as a believer, we have to put on the lenses of this world is upside down. Yeah. So pretty much your first instinct every time is wrong. Yeah. Pretty much.
That's true.
Right?
From the sin nature, your instinct is wrong.
You do the opposite thing, then you're pretty much in alignment with the kingdom, right?
Yeah, I used to hear it say, if you think twice, you're the smartest person in your group.
Well, yeah.
Right? So in other words, in your marriage, especially when it comes to fighting, whatever's been natural, do the opposite.
Yeah.
If it's been natural for you to demean your wife, do the opposite. Yeah. If it's been natural for you to get so red that you yell, fight to do the opposite. Yeah. And all I'm saying is whatever the issue is, get help. And the way that you were raised is not an excuse for you to treat your spouse that way. Well, this is what my mama did. This how my daddy do it. You are not your mama and you are not your daddy. Yeah. If I ran my marriage the way I saw growing up, I would have been divorced a long time ago. Yeah. But no. I have decided that in this space, I'm going to fight for my marriage. Yeah. I'm going to fight for covenant. Yeah. I'm going to fight for righteousness. Yeah. I'm going to fight for love.
Yeah. And if you don't like what you see in your marriage, in your relationship, then you need to sow different seeds because you're a part of the harvest. Yeah. All of a sudden you're in a space that you can't see past. Yeah. There's thistles and thorns and thick, just stuff. You have to chop down. Yeah. You have to uproot. That's because of you. That's because of what you're allowing, especially men. Yeah. Keep the snakes out of the garden, right? Yeah, absolutely. You're a big piece of this leadership portion. We're your helpmate. Yeah. We're going to meet you there, but you have a big responsibility. Yeah. If you are speaking over me, if I'm speaking over you, we have what we speak. No, right? That's good. So those words, if I call you an idiot, and that is a small one, but it's funny because I almost stuttered when I said it because it's not small to us. Yeah. Morris, one time I told Morris that he was acting. Did I say you were acting like an idiot? You're acting like a jerk. Jerk. That's what it was. And this guy almost lost his stuff. And I was like, I just said you're acting like one. He said, no, if you're acting like one, I am one. And I was like, okay, well, it's going to take me a second because I grew up in these words. Like these words were just normal. Yeah. I didn't think jerk was that big of a deal. We don't say anything like that to one another. And again, our marriage is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but we have learned things that are key and vital in relationship that can change you. Absolutely. If you want to grow and you want to flourish, you can't tell the other one they're an idiot. Yeah. You can't tell them they're a jerk. They're going to live up to the words that you speak
over them. That's right. And if I want to say the last 5 minutes, I want to talk about in this fighting fair.
I think there needs to be episode 11 about it as well.
Probably the most important thing that really changed our marriage. And when it comes to fighting fair, here's the next principle. Say you're sorry when you're wrong.
Yeah, because some of you, I wouldn't want to mention any names at all.
Well, you point that, dog. We about to have another fight on the podcast, dog. Point again. No.
Have a hard time just saying sorry and being done.
Yeah.
Others of us, we don't live in that space. I'm just like, I'm sorry, can we just move on? I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Right? So there's always the processors and the fixers.
Yes.
It is interesting that I'm the fixer.
That's true.
But
it's normally the other way around. Normally.
It is, because of course we as women think and overthink and rethink and think backwards. But in this case, like I just want to move on. I just want to get, so that I would say even in our nature and how we were built and wired, that even begins to change and shift and get smaller and smaller.
Absolutely.
Because now we're on the same page of, I don't really need to process a lot in this.
Yeah.
Maybe I can process out loud.
Yeah.
Or we can just like move on and then talk about it tomorrow or whatever. But you just have to meet each other in those spaces, whichever space that is.
Yeah. And the neat thing about actually saying I'm sorry, now we can talk to the motive of why, but I'm going to start surface. It takes a step of humility to say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I believe in the humility is where God meets us.
Yeah.
Now motive is a little deeper. Am I sorry because I got caught? Or am I sorry that I hurt God and I hurt my wife?
It's true. It's
right?
good.
So that's the difference. You know what I mean? And I don't mean caught because you did something. I mean caught in the fact that if I picked a fight or I knew I was wrong in this argument, but yet I kept going anyway.
Yeah.
That's bogus. Yeah. Right? Like I know whatever the argument was about, I initiated it. I know what you're saying is true, but no, man, last word. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Like that was wrong.
Yeah, and that's why I don't care if I'm right or not.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, y'all. That is not, she is tripping. I'm the one that don't care about being right. I just want peace. But peace don't come because you don't confront.
Yeah.
Peace come because you confront, you do it healthy, and you end with love.
Yeah.
Like no matter what we face, no matter what we might argue about, I want to end with us loving each other. I want to end with us watching a Hallmark movie with some double stuffed Oreo cookies, and then you know what's going down after. You feel me?
I might be asleep.
That's it don't matter to me. Go ahead and fall asleep. Go ahead. No, it's not with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man.
You have a problem, sir.
So my point is saying that is that saying I'm sorry takes humility.
Yeah.
And humility is the language of the kingdom. And humility helps anger. Mm-hmm. Humility kills so much pride.
Yeah.
So once we take that step, then get to the motive of like, and I pray this almost every day, Lord, create in me a clean heart.
Yeah.
Renew a right spirit within me. And then I say, Holy Spirit, clarify, clear up any impure motives, thoughts, words, or deeds. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I want to live right before God and I want to live right before man.
It's good.
And that includes you, my kids, Kevin, all the people in our life, right? Mm-hmm. I know I'm called to be an example.
Yeah.
Because once you say yes to Jesus, being salt and light is an optional. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So it's full life.
Yeah.
And and so fighting fair, I mean
fight right.
Fight what?
Fight right.
Fight right on fight night. No. Every couple's gonna do it.
Yeah.
We all's gonna go through it. So choose when.
Yeah.
Choose your words. Don't demean each other's image. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Always end with love in mind. We gotta always work on us. I don't
never say never.
Never say never.
Never always say always.
Never always say no. Always never say no. But
never
you're
say
right.
Always. Yeah. Use I statements.
Use
These
I
are
statements.
Just small to go bits.
Yep. I believe. I feel.
Yeah.
That way you get to own how you feel and not blame shift on your spouse. That's good.
It really is incriminating.
Yeah.
It really does make the other one feel like, whoa, like this whole time, or that's how you see me, or you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. What you're sowing, you're also going to receive.
Yeah, that's true. Yo, I hope y'all have enjoyed episode 10
that's right.
on Covenant Culture Podcast. And once again, thank all of y'all for sharing, subscribing, liking, whatever it is you do. Seriously, we're grateful. Man, we just want to be able to add value to marriages and help see marriages that's never been seen before. Give me
Yeah.
some, babe.
Love y'all.
Hey, hey, hey. Peace.
Bye.